And howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Snort Cast. I am Nguyen, the host and creator of The Snorter. And if you are watching this show, thank you for joining this show every week. We are interviewing funny people from all around the world, and I'm so excited to have my guest who is coming all the way from Los Angeles, California. It's always nice to spread the Snort Fest across the world. And while we talk about the world, I would like to know where you are watching this show from. Please let us know in the comments what city you're watching from. And if you're watching this on replay or on live, always want to know where this show is reaching. We're up to our 26th video in the interview in the last 2 months. So it's been a real exciting journey for me to be part of this show and to have these wonderful people come on and talk about comedy and why they're going to comedy. Now, if you are on our social media, you can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We go live on Facebook as well at the SnortCast and hashtag the SnortCast if you want to find us. And thank you so much to our Patreon community for supporting me to do this. As you know, we've been in lockdown here in Melbourne, and having this as a pet project has actually blown up to be more than I ever thought it would be. So if you would like to support the Patreon, the link is there for you as well. Please let us know where you're watching this show from, because you know, I want to know where this audience is watching, and also you know, where this joy is being spread around. And as you know, I'm a massive snorter. And I'm really lucky that I get to work in an industry where people I work with make me snort. So without further ado, I want to welcome my guest who has had a busy day and has fit us in. And I'm so grateful because I have seen his work every time I've gone to LA. I sit in the audience and watch him kill it. And we'll talk about how he kills it, because he's pretty deadly with his comedy. My guest is Ian Edwards. He's a stand-up comedian, writer, producer, actor, and podcaster. He had his first 1-hour special on Comedy Central called IanTalk, Ideas Not Worth Spreading. We'll talk more about what it feels like to have a comedy special. And also he is guests on podcasts. He's been on the Joe Rogan Experience and also WTF with Marc Maron. I'll get that right when I speak to him. But as you know, let's check out his work before we start talking to him about his work. So, and funnily enough, this is actually a clip I saw live in 2016 at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and that's how we became friends, because I was like, you killed it. So this is Ian Edwards.
Keep it coming, keep it coming. I only got 7 minutes. If you keep clapping, I don't have to say anything. I know how to get out of work. I'm not stupid. Everybody good? Oh, it's good to be here, but let's just get right to it. When I watch bestiality videos, come on, y'all, let's be mature. They don't just make them for me. I am not that special. But for real though, for real, when I watch bestiality videos, like, I can't help but think that that girl has turned down a regular guy before. Isn't that crazy? Like, some dude tried to holler, take her on a date, and she was like, no, you're not my type. That is bananas. Like, I'd hate to be that broken-hearted dude stumbling across her video on the internet later on.
I was just about to bring Ian on, but he's gone missing. I'm just gonna wait for him to come back on. Ian.
Yeah, how was that producing me when I wasn't even there? How was that after showing that clip, giving that big ass intro? How did that feel? And you cut to me, my internet. No, we're not doing anything international today.
No,
We're gonna slow down, and we're gonna just ruin everything that you're trying to do right now. How was? How
but
did that?
it was perfect timing. It was the most perfect clowning moment that could be. Like, I turned off the video, gonna put you on it, and you disappeared.
That's hilarious. Okay. So this is
Ian,
the Snort podcast. Is it because you do cocaine, or that's how you sound when you like? What's the deal here?
it's because I snort.
Yeah, I get that you snort, but yeah.
So this eventually will become a podcast, but right now it's a live show on LinkedIn and Facebook. And to my audience who are watching you and might have never heard about you, could you sum up yourself in 4 sentences? Who the hell are you?
Shit, never been asked that before, and I'm not that self-aware. So that's one of the sentences. I'm not that self-aware, but I'm a comic writer, actor, and I've been in the game for over 20 years, and I'm just trying to have fun, make people laugh, make people think, make myself think, and laugh while you're thinking. And so that's pretty much it. Now, you said my gave my credits out at the beginning of this, so yeah, that's it. That's who I am.
That's great. No, and it's actually really, ironic that you've been doing it for 20 years, but I met you in my first year of doing stand-up, which was 2016.
That's how lucky you are. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so fresh off the boat. Like you've been working it, and you can tell by just your presence on stage. And I've been so lucky to see you perform live in LA. Like, what gets you up on there? Like, what's the drive?
First, I got bills to pay. I don't want to be homeless, so that helps. But I also love comedy, and the first time somebody ever mentioned that I should pursue comedy, it struck a chord with me, an undeniable chord, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And knock on wood, I pursued it without thinking about anything else. And this is where I'm at right now. And what gets me up there, like, I'm competitive. So, I don't want to get left behind or perform on a stage where there's other comics doing good. It makes me go home and do my homework and try to stay level or past them. And, just, if you're going to do something, why not try to be the best? I don't always, all the time, but it's my overall theme.
I love that. Would you also put that, like, I feel like I've got FOMO as well. So that's also a drive for me. Like, to see someone on stage, I'm like, fuck, I got to get on stage because it doesn't feel good to sit here. Is there any element of FOMO at all for you, or it's more competitiveness?
Competitiveness and pride, and also, when you're Black, like as a kid, it's an unspoken rule that you have to work twice as hard to get somewhere. So I have no choice but to, like, get it into 5th gear as soon as possible and try to stay in that gear and take it all the way. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, and my life has been an example of that. Like, you guys got to do what you got to do as much as you can do it, or else, like, you listen, maybe it's not fair, but you know what the rules are. So you're going to play by them or not? Because if you don't, good luck to you.
Yeah.
But if you do, you have a chance.
I totally hear you. Being an Asian Australian comedian, you've got to take every opportunity, and you got to go to gear 5. You can't just sit around and expect someone to hand you things.
Right.
So, yeah. And, talking about your 20-year career, if you had to write a memoir, what would be the title of your memoir?
What would be the top of it?
The title of it, the title of your book.
the title of my book. I had a special. It was an album, and I called it 100% half-assed. And that's because, like, as much as I just said, sometimes like I go hard, but sometimes I do like to relax. So when I work hard, it's 100%, and when I relax, it's 100%. You know what I mean? So if you total everything up, it's 100% half-assed. But what would I call my memoir? I don't know. It's just I have no idea. I could just tell you. I would just like to. I don't want to say. I would like to just add something positive to the world before I'm out. How about that?
Bam. There you go.
Yeah.
That's philosophical there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to say hi to our audience that are watching right now. We've got Melbourne turning up. We've got Canada. Thanks for joining. Baltimore, Toronto, Alberta, Greece. We've got Melbourne live. Yeah. We've got Germany. Welcome, Germany. San Fran, Sydney. Where's this place? Nashau, NH. I've not heard of that place before. India. Thanks for joining. We've got
Vietnam. In America.
We've got Hawaii. Welcome to the show. We've got Canada. Canada's turning out today. Thanks for joining, peeps.
Yes.
We've got Singapore, Misucci, Melbourne, Maryland. They've all come out for you, Ian. I told you were popular.
I gotta fuck with LinkedIn more. I gotta stop sleeping on LinkedIn.
Welcome.
People are on here.
Yeah, people.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
Yes, Kenneth from Sugarland, thanks for joining. And we've got Ian Edwards here talking about his work. Ian, when did you, what was your first memory of comedy in your life as a child?
Say that again.
What was your first memory of comedy in your life as a child? Like, do you have a distinctive moment you're like, oh, this is actually good? I'm making someone laugh.
No. I always liked, there was one time in primary school, which is elementary school, but like Australian is pretty English. So you might, I was born in England. So I lived there till I was 9, but I remember at elementary school, there was like a day where it was like pantomime. And if anybody wanted to go on stage and do anything in front of the student body, they could. And I thought of this scene where me and my friends are entering or in a scary house and just trying to get out of it. And we're just really nervous. And I was just relying on our reactions of being afraid. And I just remember jumping on my friend's back when we heard a noise and everybody started laughing. But I wasn't thinking of being a comic, and I just thought that would be a funny thing to do. Like, and I don't remember how long the scene lasted or how far it went, but yeah, that's the last time. That was the first time I did anything funny in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's contagious, isn't it? When you hear people laugh, you're like, oh, I'll just test that again and keep going. And then you end up being a comedian. Is that what happened?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is that what happened with you? Like, well, I found that when I was a child, like by making people laugh, it was quite contagious. And then it just kind of brought me into this comedy world naturally. Yeah.
It's funny, like I said, like I never thought of being a comic until somebody suggested it to me, like when I was around like in my early 20s, you know. And but before that, I did use humor because as a way to just to know people and break down the barriers of meeting strangers. So it's always been a part of my social life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a superpower. I find it's a really great icebreaker to use comedy.
Yeah.
I want to ask our community watching, who is your favorite comedians and who makes you laugh? Because I'm going to ask Ian, who inspires your comedy?
Well, that changes over the years. Like, you know, first it was Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, and Dennis Wolfberg, and damn, I can't remember this guy's name right now. We have a limited amount of time, so I can't sit here and try to think of his name. But he's just a really, damn, he's really famous at one point, but I can't remember right now. But who inspires my comedy always changes, you know, and like some people when they started out, they weren't my comedy influences, but as they grew in comedy, and some of them are my friends, they became my comedy influences. So people like Patrice O'Neal, Bill Burr, J.B. Smoove, Joe Rogan, and there's probably people forgetting. But, you know, 10 years from now, my comedy influences will be different too. You know, it's just as time goes on, you see more people blossom, and they become the target that you want to hit.
Yeah. And you know, you've been in the industry for 20 years, and I think was it last year or 2 years ago, you know, you're good friends with Joe Rogan, and you opened for Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan on their tour.
Chappelle tour. Yeah.
How was that? How was that to, you know, rock on this tour with them? It looked massive.
How was it to like perform with them? To rock with them?
Yeah, rock with them.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun because it was the biggest. I don't think it was the biggest crowd I've ever performed before, but we had 2 shows. One in Washington, not Washington D.C., Seattle, Washington, and the one, where was this venue? Oh, it was an outside arena in, I think, Utah, and it was just like, I've known these guys for a minute. I know it's a big show because both of them are on it. Like, it's big when they're just by themselves, but together. And then it's just good. Like, it's just good fun. We hung out. The whole hanging out thing was fun. The performing was fun. The response from the audience was fun. Where the hotel that you put you up was nice. After the first show in Washington, our hotel was in Seattle. We drove back to Seattle with like half an hour with no traffic. It's like 2 in the morning, and they had a hookup at a movie theater that was closed, and it opened for like 10 to 12 of us who are members of the show, and just people who work and friends of management of Dave and Joe. And we watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in that movie theater at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and we had the run of any type of food, hot dogs, popcorn, or any movie theater snacks. And we stayed up till like 5, 6 in the morning, and then went back to the hotel. And then we had to jump on a flight in the morning on a private jet and fly to Utah. And then we hung out. Then we got like IVs of vitamins to like get us back up and then do the show. And then we hung out all night again. Yeah, so it was just a fun experience completely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the high life of comedy. But as you know, as you and I know, being in doing stand up, it's not that high life all the time. Like
it's a good road. It's a good road. Like, the thing I like about stand up comedy and the thing I hate about it is I do the bad road and I do the good road, you know?
Yeah.
And that was definitely the good road.
How many, like when you were starting out, because I've read Ali Wong's book, and she talked about doing 8, 9 spots a night. Like, how much were you getting on the road and performing per night?
On the road? When she does that, she's either in Manhattan, probably.
Yes.
You know, and she's like working on her craft. She's not on the road when she does either. I don't think it's impossible, I think, on the road to do like 8 or 9 spots a night. So that's probably when she was either in San Francisco or Manhattan. And it might be possible in Cali, but I'm not sure it is. I'm sure there's one night where everything aligns that might happen. But, you know, the ideal was just to get on stage as much as possible so you could get as good as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, good as possible. And, you know, you got so good that you have your own Comedy Central special. Your first one called Ian Talks Ideas Not Worth Spreading. What was the inspiration for this show?
Well, I wanted to do a podcast. I wanted to do a special, but there's so many specials out that
Yes.
I wanted to do in a way that would be different and memorable. So a lot of comics, the way they set up and break down a premise or unfold a joke, it's almost like a TED Talk for that topic, you know? And I feel like I kind of fit in that category. So I just did the special and spoofed a TED Talk. So I'm doing my bits, but there's like a monitor behind me and I can throw to it for things as if I were in a TED Talks. And a lot of TED Talks are funny, like the good ones, I feel like. So it's information, new ideas, and funny. But I'm also talking about topics that they would never talk about on a TED Talk. Like I'm talking about hoes, I'm talking about abortions, and you name it, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but I did a TED Talk this year.
You did what?
I did a TED Talk.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
What
We
was
put
it?
out
Was it? And how'd it go?
It went really well. I've gotten a lot of work from it, but it's true. I
So
don't
what?
talk about. It went really
Okay.
well, but I don't talk about whores on
Uh-huh.
my TED Talk, so that's different. Yours is different.
Oh,
Your TED Talk.
well, you're missing out. Yeah, mine is different. Yeah, check out mine then.
Yes, check it
What
out.
was your TED Talk about?
My TED Talk was about joy.
Boy?
Yeah, joy.
Joy. Oh, okay. I was like, boy.
Boy.
Like wish boy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would have been an interesting one.
Yeah.
Before we go to questions to our audience, and please, if you have any questions for Ian, we have some time with him, and we'll be succinct as we can with the questions for Ian. We just talked about, well, before we came on live, we talked about, pandemic and, how I used to watch you in this packed out comedy venues in LA. What's going on in LA with comedy right now, and how are you dealing with that and finding light in that?
Oh, so what's going on with comedy now in LA? Nothing. So that was an easy question to answer. Nah, it's there are some shows, and most of the shows are outside or on Zoom. But people are being really creative, and when I say creative, I told you earlier, I have 2 shows tonight. One is on the roof of a hotel, and the other one is in the parking lot of a place that sells chicken wings. So, hey, I haven't done the chicken wing place parking lot, but we'll see how that goes tonight. There's going to be people there. They're going to be eating wings. They're going to be watching a show. So I'm usually performing for people who are trying to get drunk. Now I'm going to be performing in front of people who are trying to get laughter and their food on. And then the one on the roof of the hotel should be a nice show. I've been a part of some really good, like, outside shows. And, like, I've done worse inside shows before COVID. So I'd like to, like, some people say, hey, I got an outside show. You want to do it? I'm like, let me come to the first one, check it out, see if you set it up right, see if it's COVID safe, and see if it, like, your microphone setup is right, see if people can hit, like, because I do want to get on stage, but I don't want to just waste my time and say, get ready for a show, and then it's not worth doing when I'm there. So I like to, I'm a snob. I want to check shit out first.
No, great. No, it's good. Well, that's how you really learn, don't you? Checking out stuff, checking out comedy.
Yeah.
Before we go to the Q&A, and we're nearly to the end of the show, a lot of our audience from LinkedIn. What would be your tip for someone who wants to use comedy in their presentation?
In their presentation.
Or in their work.
Well, since it's business related and we just finished talking about TED Talks, I think if you watch TED Talks and some comedy, you'll get an idea when you watch a TED Talk. That person's not a comic, but they have a serious topic and they're finding ways and moments in it to be funny so that it helps them deliver their message. So I think it is good. I watch a lot of TED Talks. They're informational, but I'm also impressed and amazed when they do make people laugh. So, oh, okay, cool. So TED Talks, watch some TED Talks. Watch some comedy too, but definitely watch some TED Talks.
Great. So watch some TED Talks. Find why people laugh when they're not even a comedian. Is that what you're saying?
So yeah. Watch people who are not comedians make people laugh while they're talking about serious topics. You know what I mean? So that's how you can gauge and get a better because that fits what you're trying to do more than stand up.
Gotcha. Yes. No, that's an awesome tip. That's a really awesome tip because you don't need to stand up on stage and tell jokes.
Right.
So we're going to go to our Q&A, and thank you for people for joining. Ahmad Imam from Sydney's asked, who is the funniest celebrity you've ever met?
The funniest celebrity I've ever met?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on if you consider the person a celebrity. Like Bill Burr is fucking hilarious, so he's considered a celebrity. And Patrice O'Neal is fucking hilarious, and but I'm not sure if people considered him a celebrity. He is to some people, and he wasn't to others. Dave Chappelle, you know what I mean, and is one of the funniest guys I've ever met. Tracy Morgan, fucking hilarious when you hang out with him. He's just animated, and he paints pictures about things that he's saying. Like he'll turn into whatever he's talking about, whether an inanimate object or the person he's describing. So yeah, I've had a lot of fun discussions with people, like just like Brian Callen, Chris D'Elia, or JB Smoove. I've met a lot of fun celebrities.
Yeah, and Ahmed said Bill Burr is hilarious. So
thanks. For sure, Ahmed.
Thanks for the question, Ahmed. And Karen Lee Morrison from Melbourne's asked, do you do a lot of improv?
Sometimes, like not like go to it, like on stage in the middle of my act. Like if I forget my act, I'll talk to the crowd and make jokes at their expense for the fun of everybody, including them, until I can remember my bearings. So in that sense, I do some improv, but or just when if something happens on stage that is unique to that moment, if somebody is snort laughing in the crowd, or somebody spills their drink, or somebody has on like a weird color outfit, or just you name it, like I'll address that and mess around with that and go back to my set and then come back. Like I'm always open. I'm open.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great tip. That's a tip.
Tip number 2.
Number 2. Karen said, funny TED Talks with naughty topics sound like a lot of fun. Go check out his TED Talk.
That's Ramona, what I thought when I came up with it.
Ramona from Florida said, the need for comedy is critical right now. Congrats on your special, Ian. Michael Baker, has asked, any current projects in the works?
Besides the chicken spot that I'm going to perform at later and the rooftop of the hotel, let me see. I can tell you about the projects that were in the works that are now canceled because of COVID. I mean, the only project in the works right now is like trying to live through the election in America. So that's the main one, and trying not to get COVID. That's up there with the first one that I mentioned. And I got some TV show ideas that I'm trying to sell, but there's nothing worth talking about right now until it's a done deal. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you were meant to come down to Melbourne in April for the comedy festival, and that got cancelled.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Painful.
Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah.
Just digging it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Creek has asked a really great question. Where do you think comedy is heading with all the challenges around political correctness and also social media censorship? The algorithms obviously don't have a sense of humor.
That's a funny line. That's hilarious. There's been social justice and political correctness for a long time. Like so at first, when political correctness came around, it kind of butts head with my style of comedy, but it also helps my style of comedy because I know there's certain topics that I talk about that if I don't think about the topic thoroughly, I'll be in trouble. So these rules and these things help me like write better because I don't want to be told I can't talk about something, or I don't want to avoid risking upsetting people, because I like to upset people and then get them on my side. So I just use this time to work for me. Now, where is comedy heading? Nowhere right now. Or if it is, it's going slowly just because of the condition of the world. But who knows, man? I'm open to wherever it's heading. I just know stay open, stay open, stay open. Don't be afraid and stay open. So, well, you know, where it's headed, I don't know. But my thing is to be there wherever it's at.
Yeah, and that's why I think I was really into your comedy because, you know, that first line about bestiality, it was like, bam, I'm here, take me. You know?
Take you. You're into bestiality. What's going on? What are you saying?
No, it's like the curiosity. Everyone's curious, and you were able to name it, but form it into a joke and call it out. And that's why comedy is so powerful. Is that it can call out things and make people think. And I think your comedy is fantastic, and that's why I'm a fan. So
thank you.
No, all good. And we've got one more. Can't wait. Well, Amanda from Melbourne's asked, and this is our last question: what projects can't wait to go back to with once this COVID-19 is lifted and you know, what are you gonna what's on the dream card?
Well, I guess I should mention I have a podcast called the Soccer Comic Rant, but I'm doing that despite COVID. So I'm doing that. But just I would like to do another special. Like I feel before COVID started, I was getting the material together for another special. So now now that I can perform on rooftops and in the parking lot of chicken places, I will continue to strengthen that new hour and get it ready for a special. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most. So hopefully at some point in the near future, I'll be doing another special, and it'll be on a platform that's even more gettable than the one that my last one was on.
Bam, love it. I'm cheering you on to write your second special. I think it'll be fantastic.
Thank you.
And this audience here have all contributed. Thanks for joining, everyone. that's it for the show. Ian,
Right.
thanks for jumping on. And, I know you're going to head off to other gigs.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to the community for watching. You can check us out at the SnortCast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, hashtag the SnortCast. And thank you to these Patreon supporters who help me get this show on every week. You are amazing. We'll check out Ian's work. He's on social media. He is a soccer fan. I know that because I see his Instagram stories. He loves soccer. And we will see you all next time. Thanks for joining, Ian. Thank
you. Thank everybody for watching, listening, and thank you for having me, all right?
Thank you. See you all next week.
See you all next week.